Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to another episode of News Dose, where I give you all of the latest gaming news. And about a week or so ago, reports started coming out that AT&T was considering selling off their Warner Brothers game division. The same division that has big studios such as Rocksteady, Avalanche, NetherRealms, and are working on games like Mortal Kombat, Batman, and Harry Potter. Well, now it's being reported that Microsoft is interested in acquiring these Warner Brothers studios, and this would be absolutely huge for Xbox. So don't go anywhere, and we will talk about that here in just a moment. We do have plenty more to talk about though, so before we get into all that, first let's go over some of the quick news, starting off with a quick update for Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. We did talk about this yesterday on the channel because it was just blowing up online that Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 may be close to finished because it was being reported by multiple outlets that the Spanish voice actors was finished with their characters. That is very important information because localized voice acting is usually one of the last parts of development. So obviously fans, including myself, got really excited about this, but we need to all pump our brakes for just a moment. Apparently there was some kind of mistake made along the way, and the podcast that this information originally came from, I guess never actually mentioned that the Spanish actors were finished recording their voices. So yeah, this seems like a news piece that really just grew legs of its own and blew up from there. So I wanted to post a quick update about it. It's apparently not true, and you should not expect Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 for 2020. Hopefully next year we start to hear a little bit more about it, but for now we all just need to be patient. Moving on though, we have a few game updates. Halo 3 has officially been confirmed to release on July 14th for PC, which is still just mind-blowing to me. I mean, it's actually happening. Halo 3 will now officially be on Steam starting this month, and if you already have the Master Chief Collection on Steam, then you should be expecting that update next week. In fact, it's been very cool seeing how well the Master Chief Collection has been selling over on Steam, and it's consistently been one of the best-selling games on Steam since it first released. That goes to show you just how strong the Halo brand is even now in 2020, and all the more reason to be hyped up for Halo Infinite that we will be seeing later this month, but I've always thought that Halo was a perfect fit for PC. I do understand that Halo was built around consoles and using controllers, but using a mouse in a first-person shooter is just so accurate. It does change the weapon balance and everything like that, but this truly is really cool seeing Halo 3 come to PC for more players to enjoy. In my opinion, Halo 3 or Halo 2 is probably the best in the series, and even though I like the other installments, those two really stand out to me as just being some of the best first-person shooters to ever be made. So yeah, I hope you're looking forward to being able to play Halo 3 on Steam starting July 14th. Also, we have some really good news for Kingdom of Amalur Re-Reckoning, as well as some slightly not so good news here. We will start with the bad news because it has been delayed from its original release date on August 18th to September 8th. That's really not too bad, and it's not even a month-long delay, so I mean, no big deal. And by this point, I think we're all pretty used to games being delayed with everything that's happening in the world right now. With that said though, they did give us some really good news as well. So not only will you be getting the remaster of the original game with all of its detail at higher graphical fidelity, but with a big surprise, THQ Nordic will also be releasing an expansion for Re-Reckoning in 2021. Unfortunately, this will not be available at launch, but truthfully, I don't think anybody was really expecting this game to be expanded upon. Now, we don't have much details on this expansion just yet, and how big it is or how big it isn't, or what all it includes, but I would say this is a really nice surprise. It may not be a direct sequel or anything like that, but they clearly care about this game and want to give fans something to look forward to in 2021. So yeah, if you were debating on getting this game and wasn't sure if you wanted to replay it, well, it looks like it will be getting some new content. This definitely may be worth a try now, though whether you want to wait for that expansion to buy it is completely up to you. In other news, we got a few more details on the highly anticipated Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. Part 1 did release back in April, and as soon as fans finished that game, there has been a lot of questions from fans about Part 2. Fans are wondering about a release date for Part 2, and so far the Final Fantasy VII Remake directors have claimed that they want to develop smaller parts to release each game quicker. However, they are now noting that they are working remotely from their homes due to all the worldwide issues, and this has affected development. They say that their performance efficiency has dropped below 100%, but at the same time, they don't expect this to be a big impact for the long term. The way I take that is that we are likely not going to see a major delay with Part 2. It will likely miss its initial release by a couple months or something like that, but without any official release date right now, this won't be all that noticed by fans. So I take this as a win personally. Square Enix has been known to have long development cycles, but they really do seem like they're trying to do better with that going forward, or at least with the Final Fantasy VII remakes. Now with that said, the way Part 1 ended, it seems to have kind of deviated from the original Final Fantasy VII game released back in 1997, and this has led fans to wonder if Part 2 will be way different than the original game. I won't talk about spoilers or anything like that, so no worries there, but Final Fantasy VII Remake directors are saying that Part 2 will be familiar but new. This is a bit different than some of their previous statements where it sounded like they were just going to recreate Final Fantasy VII, but now they are leaving the door open to make some changes to the original game. I personally think that's okay because the original still holds up incredibly well, and if you want to play that game, you absolutely can. It truly is a timeless classic. With the remake though, it sounds like we are in for some nice surprises, and I think that will make this very interesting for not only newcomers, but fans who played the original game. We can all kind of go into Part 2 not knowing exactly what to expect, though they did give us one small detail, and that the villain Sephiroth will be playing an even bigger role, which again, that's fine by me. He is a very well-made villain, and I think his presence adds a lot to the game. So yeah, Final Fantasy VII Remake is sounding fantastic so far, though hopefully it will be multi-platform right out of the gate next time instead of going through another timed exclusive deal. I will ask you though, do you like the idea of Final Fantasy VII Remake making some big changes to the original game, or do you wish that they were just 100% faithful? Let me know in the comments below. Let's move on over to the Xbox news though, because once again we got a lot to talk about today. This is almost the new normal heading into the big Xbox Series X event on July 23rd, but I will try to make some of this brief, so let's get right into it. Xbox and 8BitDo has announced a new controller meant for mobile gaming, or more specifically for Microsoft's game streaming service, Project xCloud. xCloud is planned to come out of beta later this year, and it will fully release sometime in 2020, where you can play Xbox games on other devices such as PCs, tablets, or even on your mobile phone. The thing is, even though you will be able to play Xbox games on your phone, there still is one problem, in that you need a good controller to pair with your phone. So far, Xbox has released some really good options with the Razer Jungle Cat and the Razer Kishi, both of which kind of emulates the Nintendo Switch, but now they have partnered up with 8BitDo to release this small little controller, and well, it looks pretty nice. This will certainly be more comfortable to travel with than your standard Xbox controller thanks to its size, but for me, and this is only my opinion, I still like the idea of the Razer Kishi and Jungle Cat more. Nonetheless, this is still another good option, and you can actually go out and pre-order this right now for only $45. That's not a bad price at all. Now, speaking of the Xbox event just a moment ago, we have yet another update on what to expect at this event on July 23rd, and this may not be what you necessarily want to hear. So according to Jeff Grubb, Xbox's all-star first-party studio, The Initiative, will not be showing their first game at the event this month. Many people believe this game will be Perfect Dark, and it has been widely rumored to be at this event, so this may surprise people, but Jeff Grubb has proven to be a very reliable source. With that said though, the Video Game Chronicles has also proven to be very reliable, and just last week their sources told them that the Initiative will be showing their first game at this event. So now you have two separate sources saying the exact opposite thing, both of which have proven to be very reliable in the past. The question is, Who do you believe? Is Jeff Grubb correct, or is it VGC? Well, I really can't say myself. What I can say though is that Matt Booty, the head of Xbox Studios, did say that we would hear about what the initiative has been working on sometime in 2020. I assume that is still the case, though I guess technically it may not actually happen this month. We are starting to hear that Xbox will be holding back some announcements to announce later this year, so maybe it was originally planned for July, but they pushed it back to announce a few months from now. That is very possible. I would assume that has something to do with the back and forth announcements between Xbox and PlayStation, but either way, I still am hearing that this July event is going to be absolutely huge for Xbox. So whether or not the initiative shows their game there, I still expect that to be the case. Sure, I would love to see what they're working on myself, but as long as good games show up at this event, I think everybody will be okay. With that said, we do have some big news for you Xbox fans, because apparently Xbox wants to acquire Warner Bros. Interactive from AT&T. It was reported about a week or so ago that AT&T is thinking about selling off their game division, and at the time it looked like EA, Activision, and 2K Games were all interested in buying them out. This would be a huge purchase, and that's probably an understatement. Now though, Xbox has entered the ring because they too are now interested in acquiring Warner Bros. Interactive, and considering how big Microsoft is, they have a real chance of making this a reality. They could easily outbid any of the other publishers. Do keep in mind though that nothing has happened just yet, and there is no guarantee that Warner Bros. Will be sold off, but if they do, what does this mean exactly? Well, from the sounds of it, this will mainly be purchasing the studios that Warner Bros. Owns. This includes NetherRealms, Avalanche Software, Rocksteady, and TT Games. All four of these studios are extremely talented, and that alone is worth the price. NetherRealms works on Mortal Kombat, Avalanche is working on the new big Harry Potter game, Rocksteady has Batman, and TT Games respectively works on the LEGO games. With that said though, from my understanding, whoever acquires these studios will not own Warner Bros. IP. That means they will not own Batman or Harry Potter. So this acquisition would mostly be for the talent of each studio, and well, there is a ton of talent here. We do know that Xbox wants new studios, and this makes perfect sense for them. This means more games for Xbox Game Pass, and hey, they could finally solve that problem of finding a fighting game studio for Killer Instinct with NetherRealms. That would be pretty nice, so yeah, this does make perfect sense for Xbox to do. As for games already in development like the big Harry Potter RPG and Batman, well, if Xbox does actually acquire these studios, I would expect them to continue developing those games as they have been, so you don't need to worry about that. Based off past history, when Xbox makes acquisitions, they do not force games that are already in development to suddenly become exclusive Xbox games. So Harry Potter and Batman would likely remain multi-platform, and once those games were finished, they would then move on to entirely new projects. Now, they do have a chance to launch day one into Xbox Game Pass though, and I do think that that's a pretty good deal. Honestly, I think this is a pretty good deal for everybody. And again, Microsoft has the money, and Xbox wants more studios for Xbox Game Pass. So yeah, this actually does have a real chance of happening, and that is incredibly exciting for the Xbox community. Let me know though, what do you think about Microsoft entering a bidding war for Warner Bros. Interactive? Let me know in the comments below. Anyways though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget to bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Peace out.